Welcome, welcome. Well, I haven't reviewed a 50s monster movie in a while, since last year. Well, that shit changes today. And for today's video, I'm going to review one of the most infamous ones that was ever made. I'll give you a hint. It's as big as a battleship. The Giant Claw is a 1957 American monster movie produced by Sam Katzman and distributed by Columbia Pictures and directed by Fred F. Sears. And it is mainly well known, especially on the internet, for how bad the monster is. So without further ado, let's check out The Giant Claw. So the movie begins with a globe and with narration.
And time has lost all meaning, as man-made devices speed many, many times faster than sound itself.
Yeah, that's true. Like how we're 2 years in a pandemic. Anyways, the narrator tells us how radar is needed for protection, especially from those damn commies. And we meet our protagonist, Mitch McAfee, an electronics engineer played by Jeff Morrow, who has appeared in movies like This Island Earth and The Creature Walks Among Us. Also, here's some more characters.
How about Mademoiselle Mathematician? She got enough numbers to feed into a machine jet?
Ooh, a female mathematician in the 50s. That was considered blasphemous. But in all seriousness, this is Sally Caldwell, played by Mara Corday, a model and dancer who has appeared in other 50s monster movies like Triantula and The Black Scorpion. And she was Playboy Playmate of October 1958.
Oh my.
Anyways, they are testing the radar to make sure that it's working properly, and Mitchell flies over the building the ground crew are in.
I didn't know pilots were allowed to do things like that.
Not Air Force pilots, you're right. But Mitch is an electronics engineer. He may work for the government, but man, he kind of makes his own rules.
So Mitch is pretty much like a 50s maverick. Got it.
So does a 3-year-old child until his mother spanks him.
Mother, dear mother, I'm ready if you are.
Oh my. So, Schnitzel? You're naughty, naughty boy. Yo. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I don't understand. So why did...
We'll talk about it later, when you're older.
But-
When you're older.
Anyways, Mitch suddenly sees a large, dark object
That's what she said.
and reports it as a UFO. The radar officer reports nothing on the scope, and Mitch claims that something as big as a battleship flew past him at incredible speed. And get used to hearing that phrase, because it is repeated a lot.
But something as big as a battleship.
Flying battleship.
Flying battleship.
Flying battleship.
Flying battleship.
Flying battleship.
I said it looked like a battleship, not that it was a battleship.
Flying battleship.
A bird as big as a battleship.
A bird as big as a battleship.
Like we're hitting a battleship with a slingshot.
Anyways, the radar officer sends some interceptor jets to investigate the situation, and when Mitch gets back to base, the commanding officer is pissed as he thinks the whole thing is a bad joke gone horribly wrong because one of the interceptor jets did not return to base. Mitch insists that it's not a joke, but then the major gets a call about a Transpolar airline plane reported missing, and the last call from the pilot had reported a UFO. So what do our protagonists do? They go on a plane, of course. Jesus, you're better off in a submarine.
Get too rough to work back there. I thought the poop on the weather was we'd have it soft all the way into New York.
Wait, what did he just say?
I thought the poop on the weather was we'd have it soft all the way into New York.
Just get some Pepto-Bismol or whatever you guys had in the 50s. And then the pilot also sees the shape.
Something might be coming up.
Such as what?
Unidentified flying object. Mitch, I sure enough saw something like a cloud.
Honestly, a cloud is more believable than a flying battleship. However, they get severe turbulence and the pilot gets a face full of ketchup. Then the airplane crashes and their characters escape and the plane explodes. And Mitch has a suspect.
Flying battleship that wasn't there.
But no time for that shit, as a French-Canadian named Pierre Broussard helps them to his cabin and gives them a drink because he's French.
How can the French not drink wine? Travesty!
Anyways, a police officer and the paramedics arrive to take the pilot's body, and he arranges a flight for them to New York. Then, shortly after they leave, there's a disturbance outside Pierre's farm, and he goes out to investigate. He screams, so Mitch and Sally step outside to take him back in. And Pierre says he saw something horrifying.
It's just a devil in the storm. The face of the wolf in the body of the woman.
And Coulter?
It was La Cacaña. La Cacaña.
Oh, I remember. Now I read it somewhere. It's a superstition, a legend that the French Canadians started and came across the border with.
Just stay calm, boys. French Canadians are a little odd.
Apparently they don't believe him, and they don't see the giant footprint outside his farm. Anyways, let's get back to another plane. Get the fuck back.
First engineer and pilot, and now lover and poet.
Oh, the line of poetry was from Shakespeare.
I know, but where did that impulse come from?
That came from his pee-pee.
Corny, but true.
Mitch then sees a newspaper about a missing Navy patrol plane, and he figures out a strange pattern.
Where I sighted the UFO, the transpolar airliner, the Navy patrol plane. Well, see it?
Oh, no.
A pattern.
Listen, I know that I'm not the only one who talked about this, but how the fuck do you see a spiral from that shit? Why not just draw a straight line? Or is it just to make the monster more mysterious? Anyways, a CAB plane with an investigation team flies towards the crash site, and we finally get to see this monster. Yep, that is our monster. It looks like a Skeksis and a crackhead Big Bird's failed abortion.
Ha! Get him! Yeah! Hot shiz, man! Woo!
And fun fact, the filmmakers were originally going to hire the stop-motion master himself, Ray Harryhausen, to create the monster. However, due to budget limitations, they instead went with a puppet made in Mexico, which only cost them $50. So, in other words, we could have had something like this. But we ended up with this. Then the general here tells Mitch that the bird attacked the plane, so Mitch and Sally get the bright idea to send cameras tied to weather balloons to photograph the buzzard, and they see the results. Oh, and here's another fun fact. None of the actors knew what this monster would look like during filming. It wasn't until Jeff Morrow saw the film in his hometown, and when the bird showed up, the audience roared with laughter. Morrow left embarrassed and got drunk. I don't blame him. I would do the same thing too. At the Pentagon, another general there examines the film strips, and he orders to have the creature shot down. Luckily, a squadron spot the bird, and they open fire.
I went to the danger zone. Gonna take a ride into the danger zone.
Mission's a washout. We're gonna head for... No. It's coming after me. No, no.
Well, that backfired. After that debacle, they go to a scientist, and he explains that the bird is an alien from another dimension, and that it has an antimatter shield for protection, which also makes it invisible to radar. Then the whole world finds out about the bird as it fucks up shit. Meanwhile, in Mitch's apartment, he tries to figure out how to stop the bird, while Sally wonders why the bird came to Earth in the first place. She then concludes that the bird came here to build a nest, so both Mitch and Sally take a plane and a helicopter to Pierre's farm to find the bird's nest. Once they find the nest and the egg, they begin to shoot it. However, Pierre pussies out and books it, while Mitch and Sally pop a cap on the egg. The bird is pissed off and takes her anger out on Pierre. I'm not gonna lie, I feel bad for Pierre. He didn't do shit to deserve this. Then both Mitch and Sally take Pierre's car, and 4 teenagers pass them on the road.
Dig you later, Gator! Hey, Daddy-o, don't call us. We'll call you!
Hey Daddy-o, your ass is grass. And it looks like the bird did the 50s a favor. They've been drinking too much sody pop and listening to that rock and roll music. Anyways, both Mitch and Sally are working in a lab, and both generals arrive to hear Mitch's idea to get past the antimatter shield. The answer is to get some atoms to fuck up the bird's atoms so that they can kill it. They build machine after machine, all with no success. Meanwhile, the bird continues to rain destruction down on Earth by fucking up this train set. Then Mitch manages to blow up the lab during one of his experiments and survives. Apparently, he did this on purpose, and he can get it to work properly.
Sure, we had the basic wiring all fouled up. It was a simple matter of adjusting the polarity on the main condenser terminals.
And this just became a Doctor Who episode. So they get their atom shooter on an old B-52 plane just as the bird fucks up the Empire State Building. They make a close pass at the bird to get its attention, and it works as it destroys a few more buildings in its pursuit. Mitch finally finishes the machine, and they begin to fire the atoms at the bird. The bird's antimatter shield disappears in an explosive cloud, and they shoot the fucker down.
Fire rockets!
And so the day is saved as the bird dies and sinks into the ocean. The end. And that was The Giant Claw. The film received negative reviews from critics and is regarded as one of the worst 50s monster movies ever made. But it has gained a cult following over the years, particularly on the internet. For instance, the legend himself, the angry video game nerd, aka James Rolfe, put the monster as number 1 in his top 10 giant movie monsters, ahead of King Kong, Godzilla, and Gamera. In addition, the bird shows up as a boss in the angry video game nerd Adventures game, and in the indie game Mono's The Hands of Fate. In my opinion, the film isn't the worst monster movie ever. Trust me, there's worse out there. The acting and cinematography are decent for its time, and the chemistry between Mitch and Sally are fine, for the most part. And yes, the monster is really, really bad, and it's the main reason this film even has a cult following. One thing I don't get is why use a battleship for its description. They couldn't have used a large plane or a zeppelin for an example. You know, something that actually flies. Also, the film reuses a lot of stock footage from other movies, and it relies a lot on narration for exposition, which can get boring. And the writing around the science part gets ludicrous at times. So in other words, this movie is so bad it's good. I give it 2 giant claws out of 5. It would have gotten 3 if they hired the legend himself, Ray Harryhausen. And that was the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. Stay safe out there. Goodbye.
Get me my pants, will you, General? Oh, Sally, get out of here.